When you look at a child today, you look at someone who's very significant in the eyes of God. And for us as a church, how do we find God's plan for them or God's purpose today? Are they just to be seen and not heard, or does God have a bigger plan? And so, for me, I've been a children's pastor 26 years. My focus in the first part of my ministry is really evangelism, reaching kids with the gospel, the good news of Christ. Romans 10:9 tells us if we confess with our mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in our heart that God raised him from the dead, we shall be saved. Well, I was guilty of reaching them with the gospel, and then I wanted to get them into my Wednesday night program or Sunday morning programs so they could be taught about Christ. But what the Lord has shown me in the last 7 years is they've been sealed by him and given the Holy Spirit. And the scriptures tell us that no one can say Jesus is the Lord except by the Holy Spirit. And so it's not a baby Holy Spirit, it's the Holy Spirit living in them. They've also been gifted by the Holy Spirit. 1 Corinthians 12:3, as I mentioned before, says no one can say Jesus is the Lord except by the Holy Spirit. And Paul lists out all the gifts of the Spirit. Okay? And so that child gets saved, they get sealed by the Spirit, they're gifted by the Spirit. And so that made something quite significant for them today. A lot of times we focus on Matthew 28:19-20 to go and make disciples. But what does that truly mean in the life of a child? Is it just sitting and listening and being taught about Jesus? No, it doesn't. It goes beyond that because we want kids to understand a personal relationship with Jesus first and foremost. Then also, we as a church, according to Paul's command, God has given some as apostles, some as prophets, some as pastors, teachers, and leaders and evangelists for the equipping of the saints for the works of ministry. So with that child having a spiritual gift, we want to equip them for ministry in the church that we can send them out to the world to fulfill God's plan for their life. And so God has a different plan for kids. Rather than sitting and listening, we're called to look at their gifts after they know Christ, disciple them, equip them, and release them in ministry in the church and on the mission field.